I lied. There's nothing good about this movie. 10 years after the first movie, there is a human who steals the core of a decommissioned Jaeger. Turns out it's a child who needs the core to power up her own hand-built Jaeger. What happened to we as humans need to pool our resources to combat the kaiju, and that the Jaeger are the best humanity has to offer? Yep, throw that all out the window because we have Einstein among us. Anyway, so Jake is our protagonist. Amari is the tiny lady. Character development is a thing that we all know, but the writers completely forgot about this trope. Let's introduce a person who has all the goddamn info needed to build a Jaeger from where, you might ask? From nowhere. It appeared in her cranium and she built it. And the movie does not show us her struggles or something, anything. Just goes, yep, here's a person who somehow builds a fully functioning Jaeger. When she starts it up, it fires up first time, first try. It doesn't not work, it just works flawlessly. That's character development. That's reality. That's believable stuff right there. That's how you make your viewer want to stay and watch the movie. Completely forget about the whole system that you built in the previous movie and just go balls to the walls and just go, yep, he's a child and she's big brain. She is as smart as all the world and the best scientists. Yeah. And for some reason, this Jaeger is one-man operated. Well, okay, look, this part somewhat makes sense because it's tiny and like you only need one person, but still, it is not something that's supposed to be. Because Jake brought cops to her door because Jake was like, yep, this lady stole the core that I wanted to steal. I'm gonna follow her. That's fun. That's all fun and games, isn't it? Stalking a child. Jake, certified lover boy. She somewhat outwitted, outsmarted November Ajax, a big ass Jaeger that honestly, he's pretty cool. But the only part that's really good from him is when he says seriously. The way that he says it is the reaction that I had upon this point. I was like, how? Why? This doesn't make any sense. I am not invested in anything. You're just showing me some stuff that has nothing to do with anything. Up upon this, I have no clue what's the plot. Why am I even watching this movie? And like, what is to show? Because look, in Pacific Rim, the first thing we see is a kaiju breaking the San Francisco Red Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, we're invested. We're like, damn, big bro kaiju is messing up the world. I want to see what happens next. That's how you build audience retention rate. Like, they should have learned from Mr. Beast. The second good thing about Ajax is the way that he's moving. The speed that he's moving is supposed to be the speed that all of Jaegers are supposed to be moving. They weigh thousands of tons. That's not how thousands of tons are supposed to move. Like before in the OG, they put real strain on the pilots. You could see that they're lifting thousands upon thousands of kilograms, tons, pounds of weight, of machinery, of like robot stuff. You can see it in their movement, but they're smooth as shit. The person punches, it punches like IRL. They're like playing VR. Ajax catches them and they go to prison. Amari, she, tiny lady, does a whole presentation on the Jaegers and the pilots. They don't show us anything. It's just tell. They don't show us like what the actions, you know, the aftermath, them fighting or their reputation. No, it just goes, oh my god, look, it's Aaron Yeager. He did so many cool things. Well, I'm not gonna show you any of it. He did so cool. Oh my god, it's pilot John Cena. He's so hot. That's it. Like nothing else. It's just a long ass whining convo they had. I suppose the only good thing that came out from this movie is when they had two Jaegers fighting a 1v1. That is actually honestly pretty cool. But on that point as well, it's just their movement is so fast that it doesn't comprehend. Like Jaegers are not supposed to move at that speed. It doesn't make any sense. So Obsidian Fury, a cool ass name, fights our main character Jake and his partner and his Jaeger. They show a cool new ability. They have the gravity gun. Later on, like literally 20 seconds later, Obsidian Fury it makes the helicopter that Mako is in, they fall. They get hit, they're swinging around, and for some reason, Jake doesn't use his gravity gun to grab the helicopter, but he tries to use his big metal fist to grab a moving object. Even if he had the ability to grab it, your hand is metal, and that is metal. It's a helicopter, it's fragile, and your hand is built like a goddamn cement block. If it falls, it would have just exploded and crashed in your hand. But no, they killed Mako. Before that Mako dies, she sends a link/file to the HQ. So when Jake goes back to the HQ, they check it out and it's an island in Serbia, Zambia, whatever it's called. So Jake asks the admiral to go. He says, all right, you can go. So they go to the island and they find absolutely nothing except the hot, sexy Obsidian Fury. They duke it out with him and they fall down his crevasse. It's a pretty cool scene in my humble opinion. Pretty cool. The light hitting the ice, it's pretty cool. And they land on a lake which is frozen. And for some reason, why is this ice so thick? It doesn't make any sense. One scene, the whole Jaeger flies and falls on the ice, it doesn't break. And then the other scene, it takes one punch from our Jake and there's a hole in the ice. There's no consistency. It doesn't make any sense. The sexy Obsidian Fury is not controlled by a pilot, but a kaiju. You may be wondering, how does kaiju, how do kaiju, how? Were they like exterminated by bomb? No, it's a human-made kaiju made by Zhao. Oh yeah, I didn't forget that the main plot of this movie is that Zhao trying to replace the Jaegers with bots. Chinese bots to be exact. You know, Chinese bots are funny. Anyway, the script is so fucking shit. The whole idea of Zhao making drones Jaegers goes as good as the script of the movie. It goes to shit. So literally 5 seconds after Dr. Newt says that it's all good, it's 100%, it gets hacked and the robots become half kaiju, half robot, wreaks havoc on the base, the military base. You remember Ajax? Yeah, I wonder where he is. Disappears. He's never mentioned ever again in the story. He gets stomped and he dies. Sad. So then we cut to Dr. Newton and the CEO of Zhao Company trying to unhack it. But for some reason, despite Dr. Newton's countless tries, Mrs. Zhao rolls up, does like a flick of the wrist, and there you go. It's unhacked. She solved the problem in 30 seconds. Why didn't she do that before? Why didn't she start with that? Why did she have to let so many people die and such chaos ensue? So much destruction for no reason. I guess they just wanted to make the movie longer. Yes, if you shoot high-powered lasers into the ground, a portal will show up spewing out kaijus from a different dimension. But sadly, 3 kaijus escaped and now they're all headed to Mount Fuji. Why Mount Fuji? Because Mount Fuji in Japan, if you didn't know, has rare resources. And those rare resources combine very violently with kaiju blood. And because of that, they want to set the Pacific Rim line fire thing and kill everybody. So when they have that information, they won't tell to Japan. So they could advise their people to go to bunkers and save their lives. They will use 2 hours. Literally, that Jaeger's head was a pancake. It was squished. How do you fix that in such a short amount of time? And with that time, you couldn't even notify Japan and its civilians that there's 3 big ass kaijus going towards their city and going to kill every one of them. Because on the next shot, we see those 3 kaijus pull up to Mount Fuji with civilians still on the goddamn roads. There's still people on the roads. We can see some of them going to the bunkers, but many of them are still stranded on the roads with nothing. They're gonna die. They're dead. All the people in the building, all the people on the roads in their cars are all dead because you couldn't even notify them. You knew that they were going to Mount Fuji. Doctor. So the Jaegers are fighting the 3 kaijus. They get a bit cocky. You're like, huh, these kaijus are not as difficult as they were seemed to be. Just like in every single Souls game, when you get cocky with a boss, he shall use the most unfounded, unknown, most out-of-pocket move ever and snipe your soul in 3 milliseconds and then you die. So new tiny robots and they show up to the kaiju. They cut them up and they fuse each other to make one big ass kaiju. Okay, that's really cool. And what is your plan to defeat this immense monster? The most sensical one of them all. I shall go to space and I shall drop kick him from space. I think instead of writing a coherent and sensible story, the writers were watching Atlantic Rim and being inspired inspired because that shit happens in Atlantic Rim, a ripoff of Pacific Rim. That's how low they stooped to make this movie. They couldn't think of anything else. They were like, damn, that's a pretty cool scenario. We should use that in our millions of dollar big budget big boy movie. So he does. He uses the thruster fisters, goes to outer space, comes flying down, nails the kaiju, and then they're like, oh wait, is the kaiju not dead? Damn. Oh, never mind, the kaiju's dead. The movie had me. For the first time, I was on the edge of my seat. Now, as a palate cleanser, I have to go watch the original movie. Bye.